YouTubers and cinephiles, welcome back to another edition of Nerd With Me Reviews. John Ricky here, and today we're doing a review of the new Kevin Hart, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Jack Black and Karen Gillan film that is a pseudo-sequel to the late Robin Williams' Jumanji. But first, let's talk about the original a little bit. Jumanji came out in like 95, starring Robin Williams, a young Kirsten Dunst. Basically, it's about this board game that brings the situations that it calls for, like Monopoly or Clue or something like that. Now, I was 11 at the time of watching this movie. I mean, some of the things hit, some of the things didn't, and I got pretty much the gist of it. I mean, it's a very simple movie. But to be honest, I thought it was okay. 11 years old, and I'm like, okay, wasn't anything spectacular to me. And not for lack of Robin Williams try to do something, but it seemed like there was now thinking back on it, it's like there was barely any character development. Yeah, he kind of fell for Robin Williams, Alan Parrish, but it's Robin Williams. You're going to feel for him regardless. I mean, it's Robin Williams. But yeah, all the characters in there were really just secondary, just to get the story going and get the story started and see it to its conclusion. Very interesting concept. But it was just an okay movie with great special effects at the time, because that was the first one of the first fully CG characters, with all the animals coming into the world. So let's just say, when I heard that they were doing a sequel or reboot of the series, a lot of people was like, no, you shouldn't reboot or remake Jumanji. Anything with Robin Williams, you shouldn't remake. I was one of the ones that was like, it kind of needs it. I mean, it was a good concept and it needed a little updating. And then I heard that, oh my God, they got The Rock, they got Kevin Hart. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, Central Intelligence. I really love their banter. They're a great Abbott and Costello type of Chris Farley and David Spade, nice Ruthven too, something like that. And then I heard what they're doing. They're going to invert it and have it play out like a video game instead of being a board game where it's brought out into the real world. They're actually transported in there and have avatars, and that's what Welcome to the Jungle gets its appeal to me. That got me really intrigued, since I'm a gamer. I'm not gonna say I'm a good gamer, but I like games, so whatever. When they showed the pictures of this movie, I was like, oh my God, it looks like a slasher Tomb Raider with Indiana Jones and Pitfall: The Mayan Adventure. Hey, y'all gamers know what I'm talking about. So it's kind of basically this film is like The Breakfast Club meets Jumanji. That's basically what they did with this, because you have 4 high school stereotypes. They get thrown into detention for various reasons, mostly involving their quirks. You got the nerdy know-it-all who's afraid of everything, who's doing the homework for his former best friend, who's the big jock football player. You have the vapid teenager who's always on her cell phone taking selfies with her friends, and in middle class, so on and so forth. And you got the awkward girl who is not about being around people, basically. They get put into detention, and eventually they find the now reformed game that's no longer a board game. Now it's a Sega Genesis Super Nintendo game, and they start playing it, and it sucks them in. Unlike in the original, where it brings everything out, it sucks them into the video game. It's basically, like I said before, the Pitfall, Sega Genesis, Indiana Jones type of video game you would see around the time the actual original movie came out, 95, 96, or I guess you would call it retro gaming. And that is where our whole adventure truly begins, and we get our stars of the movie: The Rock, Jack Black, Karen Gillan from Guardians of the Galaxy, and for you Whovians, big fans of Doctor Who, as one of the best companions of the Doctor. So, and of course, Kevin Hart. Man, I tell you though, man, The Rock is steadily showing that he is the equivalent of a Denzel Day-Lewis of wrestlers turned actors. He truly is a good actor. I mean, not great, I mean, obviously he has the charisma that most actors would dream of, but he is a really solid actor. You feel he is the character that he plays. You feel he's this awkward teenager who's scared of life in his body, and it is truly hilarious with that. Kevin Hart, he does his Kevin Hart isms, and at first it was a little jarring compared to like who his character is outside, because he's supposed to be the big jock. Now he's Kevin Hart. But there's this one point where you actually feel that he is that character. He does well. Those two are like the best duo I've ever seen, and it's just like they're hilarious together. Jack Black is surprisingly the best part of this movie. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of Jack Black, to be honest, but actually lately, his past few movies, like independent movies, he's been very good in these films, and you believe that he's this vapid teenager who's now stuck in his overweight body, hairy body, and it's just he has some of the best moments in this movie. Particularly there's a portion with Ping. You'll understand what you're watching. And Karen Gillan, first off, she is gorgeous, and plus she's a hell of an actress. You really feel like she's this awkward character that you see in the outside world, and she's in the body of her, and she's just like, oh my god, this is crazy. And obviously she's a riff on Lara Croft from Tomb Raider with the way she's dressed in the jungle. And they do great jobs at subverting all these like stereotypes from retro gaming tropes, and they really exploit those in like how they are just so like they don't really work, and it's so corny. Like even with the characters that they come across, they like to call it in gaming culture like NPCs. They only have like a few amounts of dialogue, and then they repeat them if you keep talking to them. And it's just really cool references to games as they were and how they are today, and it's just really funny and endearing at the same time, particularly with the story and how it progresses with like the characters. You know, that's what I feel like you didn't have with Jumanji the original, is that you had characters, they're your vehicle, you're just following them to get to the end of the story. Well, this one actually had some heart, which was missing from the first one in my opinion, and to be honest, that actually makes it a better film than the Robin Williams film, Hey, Shoot Me, whatever. That's what I felt. They make great references to gang culture this side of Scott Pilgrim, which is amazing. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's awesome. Also, the action was awesome. The story was pretty decent, at least the first 2/3 of the film. The climax is kind of like, all right, let's get this. Let's get it over with. The one problem in this movie was Bobby Cannavale as the villain, and it's not really his fault, but it just feels like it was something like beneath him. You really could have put anybody in that character because he really wasn't that important to the story. And at the same time, it's kind of genius at the same time, because you know, if you really think about it, that's like how most games go. So maybe that's a plus, like subverted or whatnot. I don't know, but yeah, like I said, the action was pretty decent for what it was. The comedy hit mostly. I mean, there are a few points where it's just like, I don't know about that. And the charisma and characters and just the camaraderie between all the actors, I mean, they pulled out the stops. They were really good. Even, what's his name, Nick Jonas or Joe Jonas? I don't remember. I don't really know that. He was actually pretty solid in this movie. So, yeah. Everything worked for its purpose. It wasn't like the greatest movie. I mean, it was a fun, turn your brain off, popcorn, take your nephew, take your kid, really good, fun Christmas movie, which really surprised me. So on that note, for the first time, I'm giving this a
yes! That's awesome!
Yeah, man, I was really surprised by this movie. I thought it was not going to be that good. I thought it was going to be another throwaway, like one of the Rock's, like the Tooth Fairy or something like that, some corny crap like that. But I came out enjoying it, especially for Jack Black. I mean, it was pretty funny, enjoyable, 2 hours. check it out. Hey, and I would love to hear what you guys think. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was like okay? Hey, like, subscribe. Please share this video with your friends and family. And hey, I'll check you next time. Nerd with Me Reviews. See you later.